Welcome to the Voice of Grace Lightlooper and Cycle Witch podcast. I am Grace Lightlooper, a multidimensional vocal channel, singer, and soul activation coach. Through my work, I guide souls to unlock the power of their voice, connect with their soul's frequency, and reactivate their ancient magic. I run transformational online and in-person containers and online voice activation courses. All my offerings can be found on my website. Now, this magical episode, as ever, is co-hosted with my soul sister Beth. She is an artist, a mystic, and a healer, and she goes by the name of Cycle Witch. And on this week's episode, we discuss all things home, what home means to us, and our individual take on that concept.
I'm looking for the camera.
It's there.
Oh, there it is. Hello, everybody.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of, doesn't really have a name, Lightlooper and Cycle Witch podcast. That's the name.
That's the name.
Or, as Beth is now known, C-Dubs.
C-Dubs. I feel like I need to reciprocate this name somehow.
Return gift.
LL. Lil.
Lil Grace.
Yeah. Lil Grace.
We're going quite hip-hop with these names, aren't we?
Yeah, there we go. Right.
Cheers!
Cheers, everybody. Here we are once again.
We are.
With our cozy cacao.
And without a microphone.
Yes.
Other than just the phone microphone.
Because
I left my adapter elsewhere for the mic. And then we realised, well, we don't need the microphone. It's not an essential part. And then this seems to be like a reoccurring theme with us, isn't it, lately, of this, like, it's like a liberating feeling of we haven't got everything we like want, but we certainly have everything we need.
We definitely do. The reason why we have no microphone adapter is because...
Wait, just drum roll. Wait.
There's a drum roll. Grace is moving.
I'm moving. There'll be lots of people that don't know that yet. So now it's once they get to episode, this will be episode 4, right? Once they get to hear, they'll be like, oh, Grace is moving. Or they'll just be like, no, we found out yet. No, by now. Yes, I'm moving. The house that we are currently in is going. This is the house I've been, interesting. So this is the home.
The home/house
I have been in since my daughter was born 10 years ago. It was the family home, and then it was just me and my daughter in this home, and now it's just me in this home, and now it feels like a house. It doesn't feel like a home anymore. So, and interestingly, this is the topic of today's podcast, is home.
Yes, we have very neatly segued into that.
That was fucking effortless, as everything is when we talk about it.
So, home. No longer a house, no longer a home, but now a house.
No, a house, just an empty shell.
Yeah. As soon as we came in the door, Grace said to me, "Can you feel anything's different?" And I took a second, and I kind of went, and I said, "Oh, it feels empty." And
just to paint the picture, nothing from downstairs has actually been moved out yet. So it wasn't on like a physical level of seeing the items had gone. It was literally just the pure energy of it, of just in it. So really, really strange one to sum up, isn't it? It's like, I feel like the soul has left this building now, and it's like planted itself into another house for me to reside. And it's really fascinating to actually like have this tangible sense of energy shifting, like this massive bit of, I don't know, like my energy that was planted here for a certain amount of time, and now it's like the energy has moved already, and then I just need to catch up with that.
Yes.
And that's been this whole journey, really, having these like premonitions and messages from spirit of like, this is the direction your life is going to go, not being given any inkling of any timeline over the last 4 years, but this thing's going to happen. and then you're going to move. And me just sitting on that for years and being like, okay. And then all of a sudden, like, what was it, like 1 week ago?
A week or about a
A
week.
week and a half ago, just having that, like, the message, like, through another human for, right, it's time now. Sell the house, move on, do this. This has been lined up for you. This has been shifted. This has been moved. And And if I hadn't have had all of those premonitions and that real connection to spirit, then this would be so overwhelming.
Yeah, and really scary because
Mm,
it's not something, even though you were really aware of it and it being a possibility,
mm,
it wasn't something that you actively chose.
yeah, yeah,
And often when we're forced into moving our residence, it without choosing it, it's really big and scary, and it feels like you're losing control. And even when you do choose it, it's still big and scary. So yeah, what a wonderful gift to be able to have already had all that knowledge drop in and a chance to prepare.
Yeah, I'm very, very grateful for that because it's definitely like the biggest thing that I've ever been shown, the biggest thing I've ever been like guided with. And for so long, honestly, I was like, because I think on this journey, when you receive guidance from spirit, you're like, am I just imagining a scenario that I want to happen? Am I just creating this as something that I want, which like is definitely weaved into like manifestation, because to follow your soul's purpose and be in your soul alignment, you have to want the thing you're heading towards. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But this was like, as you know, there's been parts of this journey that have been like horrendously painful.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to let go of so much to be on this path. So with all of that, like, what was that? What did I say at the start? I can't remember what I was saying, but it was yeah, basically it's the trust and the letting go of the control. That was it that you said. Because if I didn't allow myself and didn't have you to hold me through the grief of the letting go, there would have been such a big part of me that would be fighting, trying to control what I think is the right thing to do in this situation. And because I have that guidance and because I have that support from you and others around me, I was able to just check in every step and feel my way through it. Okay, how painful is this? Very fucking painful. Then we need to feel it, because that's the only way that we're going to move through this. And because of that, I feel like everything's just moved. It's like a well-oiled machine when we feel.
Oh yeah.
As our compass, it's like everything moves smoother and quicker and more efficiently, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot to be said in that fight thing. It's not so much, fight it as in like, stomp your feet and say, I don't want to do this. But in that kind of like trying to continuously cling on to control and outcomes, you end up in a lot of pain. And if you're not acknowledging that and allowing that to just move through you, that is the most painful bit, isn't it? It's once you start to go, okay, it's happening, just move through it.
You feel it, just keep feeling it.
Yep. So given that the theme of this episode is home, I want to know, Grace, what does home mean to you? Not just the house, the residence that we live in, but what does home really mean to you?
I think I would have had like a slightly different answer if I hadn't just experienced all of this stuff lately. there is like a place within me, and it's certainly in my heart, that always feels like home. It's like a safe place, even when I'm scared, or even when I'm in pain, or even when my heart is hurting. There is a place in my heart that connects me to spirit. And for me, the most authentic answer and the most honest answer is that place in my heart that connects me to spirit and source and all that is, and God, and whatever name for it there is. Because I can be anywhere, emotionally, physically, I can be anywhere. And that connection is the realest thing that I've ever experienced in this lifetime. It's always there. It's always love, real unconditional love. It will always listen to me. It will always receive whatever I have to offer, whether that's pain or whether that's joy. It welcomes that. And it almost feels like it's a place where I can release from, but also bring in. Like a portal, actually. It feels like a portal of just unconditional love. And it's taken me a lot to find that. And I've spent probably most of my life not feeling home. And that, that's played out on a physical level, but that I know that stems back from especially childhood in this lifetime, and feeling so utterly lost on this earth at this time, feeling so alone. And so it's almost the absence of home, the pain of that has really showed me where home is, and it's in my heart. It's connected to all that is, because that heart space connects me to every other human as well. So yeah. That's what home means to me.
Thank you for sharing that.
Oh,
Beautiful. And breathe. I have had a very interesting relationship with home over the last few years. Yeah, and I think home has been, like, the physical home, the house that I've lived in, has been very interesting and challenging over the last few years. Leaving my daughter's father, but we were still living in the house together for so long. And then moving to my parents' house, and that kind of return to childhood, and being in my old space, and experiencing that as an adult in a household where I was always a child, and really kind of in that time losing that sense of not freedom, because I was very free. I was allowed to, like, there was no limitations in living with my parents. But I still had that longing to, like, if I wasn't there for a reason, like having my daughter there, I wanted to be out and about and staying with friends and partners and things. So that was a very interesting period of time. And then taking a really big leap to move in with my absolute darling person, and living in a household that is quite cramped. It's not an ideal living situation, and living alongside a friend where there's been some complicated history, and the dynamics that have played out between us in that space. has been a real journey, such a massive journey. But I still feel this really, for the first time in my life, I'm living in a space that I have chosen for myself. And although I have my daughter 50% of the time and we live in one bedroom together, it's still so mine. And there is so much rejoicing in that. That absolute, like, this is my space. I don't have to share this with anybody.
Yeah.
I get to sleep on my own 50% of the time. And that has been absolutely mind-blowing for that to really kind of settle into me. And through that, really kind of knowing that, you know, it doesn't really matter where I live, what kind of house I live in or who I live with, but knowing that so long as I can create something for myself, I have this safeness within myself,
Yeah.
a safety. And yeah, it's really special. It's something I don't think I could ever give up again.
Yeah.
You know, we all live in hope of, you know, finding a teammate, and obviously it's always really nice to imagine living alongside that teammate. But yeah, I don't think I could ever go back to like sharing that core space again.
Yeah, like the sleeping space.
Sleeping space. Like, it's nice to sleep with each other as well, but it's that kind of like having a room that you can decorate without having anybody else
have
any influence over. And like, and I find myself getting so protective over the room, even with my daughter.
Yeah.
She'll be like, oh, I'm going to put this up here. I'm like,
feng shui, babe, feng shui.
Which is so silly. And this is, you know, it's a temporary situation. It is what it is. But yeah, for me, it's been really, really special to, as an adult, do that.
Yeah.
And I rejoice in it so much. And, you know, I think for me, what it comes down to, that sense of home within ourselves is a place where we can be fully accepted and seen and heard. And that's why some connections feel like home. But we can also make that within ourselves. You know, I lived so long as a people pleaser, always putting others before myself, and reaching this point where it's like, no, like, stop making yourself small, even to yourself. Be seen within yourself, be heard within yourself. And that gives such a beautiful sense of security. And that's, yeah, for me, that feels like home. And those relationships, and that relationship with myself, where I don't have to be anything other than all that I am. Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, I really felt what you were saying, and instantly I'm thinking back to our plant medicine journey that we did together 1 week ago, and this transmission come through me, and it was so freaking profound. And we were staring at each other, we were staring into each other's souls, and seeing so many lifetimes, one after the other, with this beautiful candle that was in between us. And every so often, one of us would blow the candle out by mistake. And then I'd go and relight the candle on the master candle on the altar. And it was this, what you were saying about the connection to others, like reminding you of home. That's what I just got reminded of, that transmission that come through me, which was like, like we're constantly here to keep reminding each other of home, and keep, like, when that candle goes out, keep relighting it and bring it back, and like, remember who you are, remember who I am, remember who you are, this is who we are. And that ultimately, that connection with another human, I think, I don't think there's anything that can take you deeper into your home than that authentic heart soul connection with another human, like
Absolutely.
the real authentic connection.
I completely agree. I bash on continuously about how we, as human beings, we need connection, because
Yes.
it's how
Yes.
it's how we know ourselves. It's how we grow. We need to be triggered so that we can figure out how to heal. And yeah, it's like I bash on about it all the time. Connection is so important, and it's if there is no connection there, there's no mirrors
Yeah.
for you to know yourself.
Yeah.
And also we can become this echo chamber, and it's very difficult. It's like being in a whiteout snowstorm. You end up walking around in circles because there's nothing around you to give yourself a sense of where you are. And that's what we get when we have community, when we have connection with people.
Oh, I love that analogy. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I really hear you on that. Because without, how am I ever going to know who I am if I'm not staring myself back in my face through you? How am I ever going to know who I am?
Exactly. And, there are times and spaces and scenarios where we do need time alone.
Yeah.
To really feel into ourselves.
So it doesn't become codependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can be healthy, so that we can be comfortable with ourselves as well. But yeah, it's that whole mirrors and reflections and all of the beautiful things that come with being a human on this earth, because that we're here together for a reason.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be in each other's lives.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, I think, well, at the time this podcast is recorded, what are we in February? Don't even know what the month is. Somewhere coming out of winter. And I think so many of us have just come out of like hibernation mode, and it's becoming really apparent to me how much I've missed just being in community, just being in a room full of people, singing or dancing or sharing, all of the above. Just, I'm like that yearning. It's like my heart hurts without that. I'm craving that so much, and I'm very excited for what this year is going to bring, because I know we're going to be doing so much of that. So much. So much. I want to do it right now.
So we've discovered what home is. We've discussed what home is. Pardon me. Cacao
burps.
Cacao burps.
Coming straight from the mother source, the home source.
And yeah, that's. I want to know. I think if we could hear, I think I'm going to go out and ask people that question. You know how I like to do the thing where I ask everybody the same question.
Correlate all the information.
Yeah. I think that's my new one. I'm going to ask people, what does home mean to you?
Oh, nice. Yeah, you could bring back an anonymous list and read it out in the next podcast.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
That's a cool idea. Like Family Fortunes. We asked 100 people. What does home mean to you? Yeah, what you is funny, something you mentioned. What time were we on call? Right. Something you mentioned was like about decorating your space, right? And making it your own. And oh my God, that has been such a massive part of my life, because when me and my daughter's dad separated, the first thing that really got me through the first kind of grief dip was, oh my God, I can redecorate the house like I want it now. And that moment was like, oh my God. And then obviously, you know, the story of every time you'd come round, there was a different bit of furniture, or I'd rearranged the living room, or, you know, whatever it was. I was just constantly just like personalizing everything. And I mean, for sure, the pendulum swung massively that way for quite some time.
Yeah.
And now it's finally coming back into like some neutral position, which is brilliant timing because I'm moving in with my partner. So
Yes.
I feel like I've got lots of that out of my system of just like really obsessing actually, and just like must make this my own, must make this my own. And I've exhausted that, which is great. I've done it so much that I'm just like, do you know what? Everywhere is my home now. So I can now take those, because I'm quite skilled with that.
Yeah.
Making space is nice. So I'm taking that with me, but I'm leaving the obsession in my past. I was obsessing with
Cheers to that.
Oh, thank you.
Do you find, so I find it really interesting because in that first phase of living here, you weren't the dominant partner in how your space was laid out. I was the dominant partner in the family home of my daughter's father.
Right.
So my room now is filled with lots of lovely things. A lot of them are things which I originally had in our family home.
Right.
And when he moved house, he took quite a lot of our stuff with him because he needed to fill a whole flat, and I was moving into a bedroom. But there were certain things I was like, no, I want this in my future home. And then when we moved, when we finally moved into my current place, I was like, oh, I've got room to hang stuff up, because I went from a single bedroom to a double bedroom. And so I got out wall hangings and things which are like things that I'd really missed. And it was so interesting watching his reaction the first time he came into the room and seeing all of these things from our original house that he'd not seen for over a year. And he had a really emotional reaction to that, like, wow, like, here it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just find it really interesting. And now he's got his own space, and he actually moves the living room around a lot, changes where things are. He creates new artwork to put up. And yeah, I just find it quite interesting. Like, I hope he's finding his voice within his space. Because this is his first time where it's been just him as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it is so part of it, isn't it? Because it's so liberating when you can. Because just to add to that, when I'm I'm moving in with my partner and we're having separate bedrooms, like it was just like a non-negotiable. Like we have to have our own space, like fully our own space. We've got a joint music studio and workspace, which like I was so excited to like fully show it to you, like oh my God, and to show you guys as well who are listening and watching. I'm gonna do a video when it's all set up, because it's just oh my God, it's gonna be so epic. So much creation in that room. What was I saying? Oh yeah, separate bedrooms. So yeah, we just have to have separate bedrooms. So I think you kind of touched on that somewhere along what you were sharing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's nice to spend the night together, to cuddle up, but it's so important. Fuck, it's so important to have our own space. It's like what's the word? Vital that we do that, if we can, if we have that luxury to just, whatever that space is, no matter how big or small, just to have something of our own. Something of our own, because yeah,
definitely.
Make it sacred, make it beautiful, just for you.
Yeah. Oh, so I think we're at the end of our episode. We would really love to know if you are watching this. We want feedback on what we've decorated our background with today.
Our temporary podcast
This is
studio.
our temporary podcast studio, and I would be so interested to hear from people if these two images speak to them and what they feel from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just let that soak in.
This is a painting from each of
This
us.
is one way to get traffic directed to the YouTube channel, isn't it?
Exactly. You know I've got a master plan.
Unintentional on my part. Yeah. No, well, this is the epitome of home is where the heart is, because we're just going to be recording this wherever we are, whatever we're doing, whatever space we're in. Today we're here with our artwork.
Beautiful. All right.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.